sensational strike from Sunday on a
Somebody ball through the chance and it's the first goal. Walcott has scored his first ever goal for Arsenal, and what a day to get it!
That is absolutely glorious! Well, you go a long, long way to see a goal as good as this. This is magnificent. Look at Thomas, magnificent. Look at Thomas.
It's a great pleasure to welcome you to Halftime NG podcast. Coming to you live from halftimeng.com, and we'll be coming your way every Fridays on this fantastic football website. I'm Wale Adigun, and I've got Adeyemi Adesanya in the studios with me for this maiden edition of the Halftime NG podcast. Adeyemi, you're welcome, and nice having you around in the studios.
It's always a pleasure being with you, Wale, and we also have to, most importantly, thank the guys of Starfish Mobile for partnering with us to get this across to the people.
So, big shout out to Starfish Global for also being part of this one. So, guys, don't forget, it will always be a constant feature every Fridays right here on Halftime NG, so don't miss it for anything. And yes, we've got lovely segments for you on this lovely show. After we go on this break, we'll be coming back to quickly do a quick recap of what happened yesterday in the UEFA Europa League, and also be dropping our thoughts on the UEFA Champions League match day one. Plenty of goals, it must be said, were scored on Tuesday and Wednesday. And also, we're looking at the big games coming up in the weekend. The Manchester Derby coming up in England, and the German Bundesliga, it's the Prince of Schalke taking on Bayern Munich, and the La Liga, you've got the Madrid Derby, in the Serie A, the Derby, the Capitale, and the French Ligue 1 as the cash cows are going head to head. So it's a lovely show. Don't forget, like they say, charity begins from home. We'll also be looking at the NPFL Match Day 33 preview on Halftime NG podcast, and also be dropping our thoughts on what we think will be the match of the weekend, the team to watch out for, and also the shocker of the weekend. That's where you see the very best of our octopusical skills. A quick break, we'll be right back. It's Halftime NG podcast, don't go nowhere.
Saboyaba. Alago méjì máa wọlé o. Saboyaba. Ẹ̀ta ló ń fi àṣẹ ìlú oníṣẹ́ Saboyaba. Ẹ̀ta ló ń fi àṣẹ. Yeah, ọ̀gá ni ọmọ ìjẹ. Yeah, take. Auntie, your money. Driver, move now. The time they go now. Driver, move. We don't play waste our time for here now. 15 minutes, man. The match don't start already. Driver, I beg, move now.
Go! Messi don't score.
Oga, how you think they watch the match now?
I'm on that for my phone now. You know understand say we dey get text message me. Oh yes, to get real-time football updates straight to your mobile phone, text HELP to 400 and get a list of your favorite football clubs now. Also, text champion to 400 and follow the UEFA Champions League action and be involved. This service is for Airtel subscribers only. SMS costs 20 Naira weekly.
You're welcome back. It's still Halftime NG podcast coming to you exclusively from your number one football website, halftimeng.com. My name remains Wale Adigun, and yes, like I told you before on that break, Adeyemi Adesanya is right here for company. And Adeyemi, let's quickly go through some of the big games that we had in the Europa League just last night, and the biggest result. And also what I think will be the biggest result for that club was Swansea getting a fantastic 3-0 win at the Mestalla.
Well, a big surprise for everybody, the observers of the Europa League and European football generally. Swansea are a team who have gradually come onto their own, from Brendan Rodgers down to Michael Laudrup, winning the Carling Cup. It's a big surprise, fantastic performance from them. Mitru, with Boni and the Guzman getting the goals. Unfortunately, Valencia are a team who seem to be in transition every season. They've had to change their manager, and we're usually, the Mestalla as a place that is very difficult to go to
Very
get
difficult.
results. But unfortunately, teams are going there this season and they're getting the results. It's unfortunate that Valencia having to start after the season badly, but it has to be the biggest result of the competition. And definitely, it's a sounded out Swansea to the rest of Europe to know that this small team from the south of Wales are ready, are prepared to cause a big stir, cause a big upset in the Europa League this season.
Okay, so 3 back-to-back losses for Valencia in the La Liga, and the signs were just clear. So sticking with the English contingent in Europe's second-tier cup competition, Yemi, you have to say that it's been a good week for English football, even in the Champions League and also in the UEFA Europa League. Barring Chelsea, who lost to Basel, you have to say that for a club like Spurs, good win also for them. And for Wigan, who ply their trade right now in the second division, getting a draw over there in Belgium against Zulte Waregem, it wasn't a bad result also.
It's always a good result if you can go away from home and get at least a point, especially in the group stage that is so difficult like the Europa League. Some people don't like calling it the second tier or the lower or the lesser brother of the European Champions League, because the competition is also very difficult to win. It has a very strenuous group stage with the knockout stage, and of course the dropping in of the third place teams from the Champions League. But then Wigan, second tier of English football, showed that they have a bit of mantle about them to get a good draw away from them. And of course Spurs put up an absolutely fantastic performance, especially Jermaine Defoe, showing that he deserves to either partner Roberto Soldado or be the lead striker for Tottenham this season.
Okay, there also wins for Fiorentina, who came unscathed despite losing Mario Gomez to injury. Couldn't play in that one. Eintracht Frankfurt also defeating Bordeaux convincingly right there in Germany, 2-0. And the biggest shock of the night, aside from the Valencia loss, Yemi, it had to be about PSV, who are even preparing for the big game this weekend against Ajax. Not a good way to prepare to face Ajax, a very good side, although you want to see Ajax also lost, right there at the Camp Nou in the Champions League. But losing to Razgrada Ludogorets, that's no excuse. They have no excuse. They shouldn't lose to clubs, ridiculous clubs like that. Apologies about being said to a club like Ludogorets.
Well, PSV also another team in transition this season. Philip Cocu has come in and trying to blend a lot of his youthful players with experience. They lost Kevin Strootman
and
Dries
Mertens.
And Dries Mertens. So they're a team who will be there or thereabouts in the Eredivisie. Unfortunately, I think UEFA Europa League might just be a bit of a stretch for them, especially with the bad performance in the first game. But also, they can look back and pick out some key performances in that match to be able to have a good opportunity against Ajax in the league this weekend.
Okay, that's it for the UEFA Europa League. And real quick, let's quickly talk about the UEFA Champions League. And, we all know the results already. There were, routine wins. Shocker had to be the one at Stamford Bridge when Chelsea, lost to Basel. The rest of the pack, the big boys won: Real, Barca, Arsenal, Manchester United. But really, over the 2 days of action we had on Tuesday and Wednesday, what really caught your eye?
I think it has to be the performance of Chelsea at home, the poor performance of Chelsea at home. We've always known Jose Mourinho to have a fantastic home record that has become completely non-existent anymore, especially since he was at Real Madrid. Chelsea were completely played out of the park, especially Mohamed Salah, who they had been warned about over and over again. He even scored a goal against them in last season
in the Europa League,
and he came on again, was a constant threat, was a constant thorn in the flesh of the defenders of Chelsea, and of course he got an absolutely brilliant goal, well-worked goal. And Mourinho, the entire Chelsea staff, they have it all to do to get some confidence back into the fans. In fact, the fans are already calling for his head, technically.
Anyways, match day 2 of the UEFA Champions League returns on Nigeria's Independence Day, and that's October 1st, where the Gunners will also welcome Napoli. I remember when the Parthenopai visited Emirates the last time, we already know what happened. So interesting, match day 2 promises to be. Yes, that was the Emirates Cup, but October 1st and 2nd promises to be an interesting
business.
Definitely, Yemi, it has been said. We'll do for a break. When we come back, we're heading over to all of the action coming through this weekend, and our next stop has to be the big one, the Manchester Derby, the successful neighbours up against the noisy neighbours. It's Manchester United up against Manchester City at the Etihad. Preview coming right up on Halftime NG Podcast. Stay with us. You're welcome back. It's still Halftime NG podcast coming your way from halftimeng.com. So don't forget to always visit the website for the very latest and the very best for football stories. And Yemi Adesanya is right here with me in the studios. And don't forget Starfish Mobile also making this possible. So once again, a big thank you to them on Halftime NG podcast. And let's move on to the English Premier League, the biggest league in the world, as some would say, and even the most expensive and the most lucrative, maybe aside from the UEFA Champions League, you have to say. And a quick look at the games for this weekend. Cardiff will take on Tottenham Hotspurs, Crystal Palace against Swansea, Arsenal against Stoke City, Chelsea will take on Fulham, West Ham against Everton, West Bromwich Albion will take on Sunderland, Newcastle against Hull City, Liverpool table toppers will take on Southampton, Norwich City at Carrow Road will host Aston Villa, and Yemi, the biggest of them all, has to be the one at Eastlands, the one at the Etihad, Manchester City against Manchester United. And goalkeeper of Manchester City, talking about Joe Hart, already calling for calm ahead of the derby. We already know what happened last season.
Ugly since last season. United scoring at the death, scoring a winner to make it 3-2. The fans didn't like it. United players obviously probably over-celebrated that win. And he's calling for calm, he's calling for some peace, he's calling for respite from the fans, that they should just come in and enjoy the football and not have any ugly sins this time around. But definitely to be a fantastic game. We have two managers who are new to this derby, who are new to the rivalry at stake. And Manuel Pellegrini is just gradually getting used to the feel of English football. Manchester City haven't had a fantastic start to the season. They have only two wins out of 4. They've lost one and they've drawn one. That's drew to Stoke and lost to Cardiff. So it hasn't been the best of starts. United have 2 wins, 1 draw and a loss as well. So they have identical records going into the derby. It's more of a subdued derby than what we're used to. Or in the latter years, you would have situations where Mancini will already start his mind games. Sir Alex would have started throwing some bickering, but now it's more subdued. Both managers are trying to feel each other out, and we're looking forward to a fantastic game this weekend.
And Yemi, still on the Manchester derby, don't you also think that the good news, or what City have to be really happy about, is in a time or in a period when United have gained a bit of momentum, going forward, Robin van Persie getting goals, Rooney has returned revigorated and also reborn, is scoring goals with some in the Champions League. The good news for City has to be that Vincent Kompany is back, and they've got a bit of still at the back, and also that Mattia and Nastasic might also, be fit. So bring on Rooney, bring on RVP, they've got company.
Oh, they finally sorted out that part. It might eventually be the best signing that they never made, or that they made, in Vincent Kompany coming back so early. He's been a rock for Manchester City from their title-winning year to even when they lost the title last season. He's been rock solid as a leader, and they obviously be very happy to have him back. But then United seems to be on rampage. Rooney seems to be in the form of his life. He just got to 200 goals for Manchester United. Van Persie scoring for fun. So it's an absolute fantastic cracker we're looking forward to this weekend. It's probably even Stevens, because it's going to be very difficult to call. But my dear brother, I think I'll look at this game and say it's probably be a draw. Okay, I mean, just a quick thought on 2 more games that we will also be looking at on Halftime NG podcast. Chelsea have to respond against Fulham. They don't respond. I think that what happened over midweek against Basel, we might just say maybe it's a time alarm bells to be ringing right there at Stamford Bridge. But this game is a must-win for Jose Mourinho. Definitely a must-win. At Stamford Bridge again, another chance to redeem himself. If he were a lesser manager that this kind of run of form had happened to, he would have lost his job by now. But then Mourinho, like most Nigerians say, the Mourinho factor may come to play in this instance. Fulham are also a team who are in a very bad run of form as well. They're trying to get used to the idea of not having Mohamed Fayez sitting in the stands. They haven't done so much of pretty good business in the transfer market in the off-season. But definitely, I think Chelsea should be able to bounce back from this situation and get the maximum 3 points in this game. Okay, and Yemi, also the 2 winless sides in the Premier League go head-to-head. West Bromwich Albion will take on Sunderland. West Brom have gotten Stephen Sessegnon, and they've also brought in Victor Anichebe. They take on the Sunderland side, a newly restructured Sunderland side who signed almost 14 players, or even 14 players. And so far, so good. Paulo Di Canio
as it found it hard. They've got injury crisis. We hear that Lee Cartamol, who was banished at a point, might return for this one. But you look at it all, you might just fancy West Brom nicking this one based on what they showed last week.
I definitely fancy West Brom for taking this one. They have Stefan Sessegnon, their record transfer signing in their history. He has a point to prove. He wants to show Paulo Di Canio that you were wrong to have sold me, you were wrong to have discarded me. And Sunderland have been a team that have struggled. It's just a clear example of too many cooks spoiling the cook. Signing 14 players completely upside down. They don't have any clue. It doesn't even seem to have any idea. And if we were to conduct a poll today on the first manager that is likely to be sacked, I'm sure Paulo Di Canio will be number one in a lot of people's books. However, West Brom, with Victor Lichebe right there in front of goal, and they have Mark Rosenborg as well, I think they have enough to ensure that they get victory right there at the Hot Tons.
Okay, don't forget you're still listening to Halftime NG podcast, coming to you exclusively from halftimeng.com. Every Fridays, that's how we're doing it right here on this football website that gets you up to speed with the latest coming from the best thing that ever happened to mankind, football. Off to Spain, La Liga, and going through the fixtures. Osasuna and Pamplona take on Elche. Real Sociedad in Anoeta will take on Malaga to San Sebastian. Almeria against Levante. Vallecano against Barcelona. Real Valladolid take on Atletico Madrid. Real Betis up against Granada. Celta Vigo taking on Villarreal. Real Madrid against Getafe at the Santiago Bernabeu. Valencia will take on Sevilla. So back-to-back home games for them. And Espanyol take on Athletic Club Bilbao. And Yemi, nothing much should change over the weekend. You expect Barca should get a return win. Atletico should also continue their unbeaten run to the season. Real also should get the goods against Getafe. But I think the key game this weekend has to be the one at San Sebastian. Real Sociedad, who haven't matched what they did last season, they'll be taking on Malaga, another side seeking for, in a reintegration stage.
Real Sociedad lost their Champions League game against Schalke. Not a good way to start their UEFA Champions League campaign. But then you have a Malaga team who, under Ben Schuster, are looking to probably get a little bit of the glamour they had under Manuel Pellegrini. It'll be a very tough game. Griezmann has been the standout player for Real Sociedad this season, and of course, coupled with Carlos Vela, who seems to be scoring for fun, who seems to be in the mood. Malaga with El Hamadi, who's looked very solid, had a hat-trick last week for Malaga in their 6-1 win over, I can't remember the team they defeated now, but then it'll be a tough game. Both teams will go out. Fantastic attacking football will be on display there, and I think at the end of the day, I think Real Sociedad should come out tops in this one.
Okay, before we go on this break, let's head to the Bundesliga real quick. Borussia Mönchengladbach will take on Eintracht Braunschweig, Hamburg against Augsburg, Mainz against Bayer Leverkusen, Nuremberg against Dortmund, Wolfsburg against Hoffenheim, Schalke will take on Bayern Munich, Freiburg against Hertha Berlin, and VfB Stuttgart will take on Eintracht Frankfurt. Once again, nothing much to change. You think Dortmund will get their 6th straight victory, bouncing back from the loss to Naples, and also Bayern Munich against Schalke. That's where I think something might change. Schalke haven't lost in 3 games, and Bayern haven't been convincing, according to Matthias Sammer.
I don't think Bayern haven't been convincing. I think Pep Guardiola is trying to get used to his team. Definitely, he's looked at how he's going to put this team together. They could play in a 4-2-3-1 formation or a 4-1-4-1 formation. Philipp Lahm has probably been the standout player for the team so far. Then Bastian Schweinsteiger has found it difficult to get into this team. Schalke, on the other hand, have looked very good, even though they missed Huntelaar. But then Jefferson Farfan has been the go-to guy for them this season. It'll be a very tough game. But something just tells us that Schalke might just be the first team to defeat Bayern Munich this season. Okay, and also I think Nuremberg will try to prove a point against Dortmund, but Dortmund should have plenty of quality. At least they have Roman van der Velde back, in the German Bundesliga. And when we come back on halftime, it's halftime already, it must be said. And when we come back, it's straight up to the Italia Stadio. I've got 2 big games coming up, one at the Giuseppe Meazza and also one at the Stadio Olimpico. We also have a bit of time to talk about the big game coming up in the French League on Sunday, and that's PSG against Monaco. Stay with us because we'll be right back. A big thank you for staying with us right here on
Halftime NG podcast. My name remains Wale, Adigun, and Yemi Adesanya are still right here in the studios. Don't forget to listen to our podcast. You can always visit the website halftimeng.com, click on podcast, and you run live with us. You can listen to us crisp and clear. Yemi, let's get back to our review or our preview show, it must be said, and we're talking about the Italia Serie A, like we said before, went on that break, and interesting games coming up. But let's go through the fixtures real quick. Atalanta taking on Fiorentina, Bologna against Torino, Cagliari will take on Sampdoria, Catania against Parma, Kiev will take on Udinese, Genoa against Livorno, Juventus at the Juventus Stadium will take on Hellas Verona, Milan, AC Milan against Napoli, AS Roma against Lazio, and winless Sassuolo taking on Inter Milan. The two big games stand out definitely, Yemi, and let's start with the one at the Stadio Olimpico. Surprise, surprise, Roma topping the table. They've got Lazio, who have lost only one game this season. But the worrying factor, I think, for Roma is the fact that they haven't lost or they haven't won against Lazio in the last 5 games. Many things have changed. Rudi Garcia, now coach at AS Roma. Lazio have also brought in 1 or 2 players. They've lost Libor Kozak over to Aston Villa. But this should be an interesting tie. And where do you think the pendulum will swing?
I think the pendulum will still swing in favour of Roma. Roma look very good. They look to be building in the course of a very different side. Kevin Strootman has come in and tried to plug the holes there and given Daniel De Rossi the support he needs in that midfield. Of course, they have they have a very good squad. They lost Eric Lamela. At times, I wonder the kind of transfer business Roma is doing, but they've done some pretty good business, even though they sold Pablo Osvaldo, and Totti is going to sign the 2-year extension to his contract. That alone will give him the lift and the boy to go ahead and ensure that Roma win this game. Roma look absolutely good. They look fantastic. They look very settled. Rudi Garcia has settled into this team and is imputing his tactical ideology into this team gradually. But then for Lazio, for me, one player always stands out for Lazio anytime I watch them is Candreva. He seems to be the heart and the heartbeat of that team. And of course, Analysis, another one, and also our own Onazi. The team looks very, very, they look comfortable, but at the same time, I think Roma will break their duck against Lazio this time around. And
Napoli against AC Milan at the San Siro. Milan still have a thin squad that they brought from the Champions League. Napoli are unbeaten in all competitions, it must be said. And I think Milan, the key for them in this game will be how to really stem the tide of offensive ballistic missiles that Napoli will bring when you've got Dres Mertens from the wings, you've got Callejon, there's Gonzalo Higuain, there's Marek Hamšík. Can Milan withstand this?
I doubt it. I doubt if Milan can withstand the firepower that Napoli have currently. Marek Hamšík, if we were to hand out Players of the Year awards today in Italy, it will be the Player of the Year so far because he's handled the situation of losing in back-to-back years Enrique Lavezzi and Cavani, and he's been able to galvanize this team. I think Rafa Benitez saw in him a leader of this squad. Napoli has settled into the league this season and showing great intent to be the team that is most likely to push Juventus all the way. I think in this one, Milan will definitely lose at home.
Okay, we're running out of time, and let's quickly head to the French League. Saint-Etienne against Toulouse. Bastia will take on Olympique Marseille, Reims against Ajaccio, Sochaux against Lille, Reims against Guingamp, Evian will take on Montpellier, Lorient against Bordeaux, Nice against Valenciennes, Lyon will take on Nantes, and Yemi, the big boys, will take on the Parc des Princes. The real big boys, PSG against Monaco. PSG have been far from convincing, while Monaco, I think, so far so good. Radamel Falcao has scored in all games just but one, and looking at the form book,
they have Emmanuel Rivera
who has even tried to outshine Falcao. And even looking at the form book, you have to say that Monaco are primed to even take 3 points at the Parc des Princes.
I think they're favourites for this one. If we look at the transfer business that both teams did, I think we'll probably say PSG might have won the battle of the transfers in terms of the qualities they brought in. But then Monaco have settled into life in Ligue 1. The Tinker man, Claudio Ranieri, has put his tactical input into this team. And of course, Condobia has surprised us with the way he has settled into this team. João Moutinho has looked very electric, controlling things in midfield. Something just tells me that this might be the game that might signal the sacking of Laurent Blanc. Monaco to take a point off to take all 3 points at the Parc des Princes.
Okay, that's it for the European leagues. Time to focus our attentions on the home front, and that's the NPFL Match Day 33. Games also coming up. Don't forget just some 5-6 games, and we're done with the NPFL that has 3 teams or some 4 teams trying to take glory, and also teams trying to avoid relegation. Going through the fixtures, El Kanemi Warriors will take on Gombe United, Dolphins against Kwara United, Canopilas at the Sani Abacha Stadium will take on Warri Wolves, but still don't know if Kano will be playing this one in Kano. I think they'll be playing in Kaduna. This one, Shooting Stars take on Enugu Rangers, Bayelsa United at the Samson Siasia Stadium will take on Enyimba, and Lobby Stars take on Kaduna United, Wicked Toys take on Nembesti, ABS Welcome Outland, Aqua United take on Nasarawa United, and Sunshine Stars also take on Sharks. Pick off the bunch, Adeyemi. It has to be the one between first and second. Bayelsa against Enyimba. Enyimba will do well to get a point at Bayelsa, but Yemi, you get a feeling that momentum and team spirit is high right there with the Abaili fans. They just won the Federations Cup, won at midweek against Wicked Toys, and they get a feeling that once they win this one, it's looking like the title is home and dry for them.
The odds are stacked in favour of Enyimba for this one, and I think they will go to the Samson Siasia Stadium and get a point. They look fresh, they look refreshed, they look on point to, as much as possible, ensure that they remain at top of the table and claim the league and claim the double, interestingly for them. But Bayelsa United under Ladamboso have looked very strong this season. They've also gone away from home and gotten very good points. At home, they've also been able to steady the ship, but I think this time around, Enyimba might just be able to nick a point against them.
Okay, time for another break. That'll be the final one on the show, and when we return, extra time on Halftime NG, and it will be all about us talking about the potential match of the weekend, the shocker of the weekend, and also the team to watch out for this weekend. Don't go nowhere. Last lap, Halftime NG coming right up. Okay, welcome back. Extra time on halftimeng.com, and don't forget for the NPFL that we just previewed, you can always check out our team of the week every Mondays right there on halftimeng.com. So feel free to also drop your comments if you have any reservations about the first 11 from the NPFL for every match day. Yeah, it's extra time. Let's go through this real quick. Match of the weekend, in a weekend where we have some 3-4 great matches: the Manchester Derby, the Milan-Napoli game, the Derby de Capitale between Roma and Napoli, and also the big one in France, PSG versus Monaco. What would you go for?
I think I'll go with the Manchester Derby. Both teams are penultimate champions in the EPL. They have new managers who are settling into the team, into the environment. I think it'll be a very nice one. It'll be a very good game. But I think this one just looks, all indications point to this one likely being a draw.
Okay, and talking about the team to watch out for, I'm looking at Borussia Dortmund, lost that to Napoli, and also maybe Valencia, who also lost that to Swansea and have lost 3 back-to-back games in the La Liga. They take on Sevilla, who also lost agonizingly, to Barcelona over the weekend. You think Valencia will respond? You think Dortmund will also respond?
I think Valencia should respond to this, but then there's an additional plus to this game. Sevilla's manager was manager at Valencia before. He has a point to prove. He's looking to go to the Mestalla to grab all 3 points, but I think Valencia have all the necessary ingredients to be able to bounce back from that loss. Okay,
and don't forget, at the beginning of the show, I said our octopusical skills will be called into question because we're looking at the shocker of the weekend. Yemi, this is where your work really, really cut out. You're looking at all the fixtures right now. Where do you think we'll get our shocker? Our shocker of midweek had to come from Stamford Bridge, where Basel, defeated Chelsea. But you get a feeling that Chelsea will power their way back against Fulham. And maybe in the English Premier League also, looking at Cardiff, who also really cover themselves in glory against Manchester City. You think they can repeat that one in Wales against Tottenham?
I think Tottenham have a good team. They're putting together a very good team. I think they should be as much as possible able to get a draw.
Okay.
But for me, the shock of the week, the two games I'm looking primarily at for the shock result: Schalke to defeat Bayern Munich and Monaco to get the win at the Parc des Princes against PSG.
But I also have to ask you if Monaco get a win against PSG or a draw.
It's still a shock. Monaco are a newly promoted side.
They spend almost equal amount of money in the transfer market. But anyways, it promises to be an interesting weekend of football action right there in Europe and also on the home scene. We've got the NPFL Match Day 33 games coming up. It's full time on Halftime NG, and Yemi, we have to go.
It's a pleasure to be here, and we thank you very much, Wale. Join us every Friday for the Halftime NG podcast, and log on to www.halftimeng.com. Follow us on Twitter at HalftimeNG. Follow us on Facebook at www.facebook.com/HalftimeNG. And of course, we thank our dear friends, Starfish Mobile, for making this possible.
Okay, that's how the cookies will be crumbling right there on Halftime NG podcast. So, like Yemi said, join us every Friday, and I won't put a time because I just have to go there at your own comfort and listen to us on this fantastic website. We return next week by the special grace of God. Till then, be safe.